It can work for you, or it could totally work against you.
Are you an actor over 40, unknowingly sabotaging your auditions wearing the wrong colors? Well, in this episode, I am joined by top color consultant Jill Kersh, who reveals how the right color palette can be a game changer in getting you booked. If this is your first time here, my name is Lydia Nicole, and this is Acting Smarter Now. Why is color so important for actors?
That's an amazing question. Color can contribute to a character that an actor is working on, which is why I have a sweet spot for working with actors. But you also want to know all your best colors for the headshots, for the self tapes, everything that's going to make you just shine. You know, basically, the first moment is visual. Either you walk into an audition in person, which is rarer these days, or they pop the tape in and you just want to have impact before the line, before you say a word, even in the slate or whatever. And color can absolutely do that. It can work for you, or it could totally work against you. Um, here's my concept for this whole thing, and I'm thrilled to be able to share this with actors. When you walk into a room or when you start the self tape, you want the attention to be drawn to your face, to your eyes, to your smile, the whole vibe. So when you're wearing colors that are in sync with your hair color, with your whole presence, the eye of the viewer is drawn from what you're wearing to the lips, the cheeks, the eyes, the hair. And then when that is happening, my viewpoint is the message that you're communicating in words is just going to ride that wave. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the lips get there before she does, or the guy's tie. It's all about the meeting, or the glasses cut their face in half. When everything is feeding your presence, the impact is amazing. And truly, people don't even know what it is, what the thing is, but starts with color, 100%.
First off, I'm going to say how much you helped me years ago. I was in panic mode because I was getting ready to take new headshots, and I had a talk with the photographer over the phone. And he said to me, make sure your clothes are jewel tone. And I had a meltdown. Not with him, but when I got off the phone, I was like, jewel tone, I don't even know what that is. Jewel tone, what? And he said, stay away from black and stay away from white. And I'm like, what is he talking about? And I remember having seen you on an interview, on a tape years before, and it always stayed in my mind. And I went looking for the video. I go, okay, I got to get my colors right, because I am naturally a very bright colored person, from the Caribbean. I want colors that make the dead come alive. And so I got a hold of you, and you changed my life. You literally changed my life from the beginning of the phone call. First of all, I remember asking you how much it was, because I remember I had a budget, and you gave me the price, and I almost fell to the floor. I was like, oh my God. But what I remember, what has stayed with me, was that you were so calm after you said your price. And for actors, when you're on a budget and you hear something that it first of all you didn't budget for, is it, you're not thinking, oh my God, I need a colorist now. I need somebody who can do my colors. It's bad enough I got to get headshots, but I got to get a colorist. And so, but you were so calm that it gave me permission to say, this is important enough for me. I need this. I need whatever it is that she is giving me, because right now, if I don't get it, I'm going to go and blow hundreds of dollars on headshots that I'm going to have to retake again, because I didn't take care of the business beforehand. I remember that so clear. If I don't remember anything else, that was a defining moment for me as an actor to go, I deserve to give myself the best possible shot I can. And I know it's about headshots. I was doing it for a long time, at least what, maybe 25, 27 years when I talked to you.
Wow.
and
Wow.
and I knew that headshots were important. And when this guy told me about jewel tones and I had no idea what the hell he was talking about, I was like, you know what, this lady knows what she's talking about, and I need to just trust the process. And you came to my house, you went through my closet,
Mhm.
and you brought a big ginormous mirror. I don't know how you carried it in, but you brought a big ginormous mirror, you brought a big old suitcase, you came fully loaded. But you went into my closet, you went through every color, and I had things color coded, but you went through every color, and you went, this doesn't work on you unless you're playing a sick woman. This doesn't work on you unless you're doing this.
Yeah.
This would be good if you were a welfare woman. You didn't say welfare, but that's how I translated it. And so it really changed my, it just shifted me. It shifted me on such a level. And then not only did we go through the colors in my closet, but then we sat down, you put that mirror in front of me, and you started doing color samples on me and saying why this was important and why this was not important, why this color made me look good and this color really made me look bad. And it was such a wonderful process going through that with you. And I had when I first came to Los Angeles and started working as an actor, I had gone to John Robert Powers, and they had like a day seminar where they showed you how to pick your colors and do your makeup and your hair. And I remember that cost me $75. And I was like, this is the best $75 I've ever spent, because they gave me a little thing of swatches for paint, not not the swatches that you get, but colors for paint. And they said, these are your colors and this is what you use. So I would use that stuff, and they gave me a good beginning foundation, but not really enough. And so I knew to stay away from orange. There were certain colors I knew, stay the hell away from it. But when you started working with me and you took me from, you were so thorough, which is what I so appreciated. You were so thorough in taking me through makeup, in explaining to me the color process, in helping me with my website at the time to go, okay, these colors do not represent you. So let's look at what colors can represent you. So you shifted everything. And I remember going to the after you left, picking out the right clothes uh, that were not necessarily jewel tones, but they fit what I was doing. And it gave me confidence to go to that photographer and go, I know you said jewel tones, but this is what I feel the most comfortable in. So let's do it. If you're not comfortable with that, we can just end the photo shoot, and I'm okay with it. But it gave me a sense of power. I felt like I had the power to say, this is going to work or this is not going to work. I was not leaving it up to, at that point, because of what you taught me, I wasn't leaving it up to the photographer. He had his way of shooting, but I knew what was going to work for me. So this time with you is really important for me, because I have been talking to older actors as we start maturing, and we get out of that handsome, sexy, gorgeous phase or cute phase, and now we're coming into a more mature look. actors start to freak out a little bit. And so I want to talk about how actors over 40, I don't know why 40 is the number that makes people start losing their mind, but after 40, it's like I don't know what to do. So I want to go through some steps. I know we can't, it's too broad, but just to give some a little bit of information that may help the over 40s actor get their mojo back, because I'm all about getting your mojo back. And you are the mojo queen. You give us mojo back.
I am totally about getting Mojo back. First of all, I have to say, your story was just everything to me, because I'm so about empowering people. Like, it's my sweet, I can't even tell you what happens. I mean, the confidence, like, you went into the photo shoot and you knew, you were like present and there, and you just knew, and not affect. And I'm going to tell you something very quickly. um, I had a client, a guy, many, many years ago in LA, and he did his colors and he loved it. Years later, they moved to Atlanta, and this gal calls me, his girlfriend, and she says, my boyfriend carries around this little Swatch book, like, for years. Everywhere he goes, he has a Swatch book and whatever. So she said she just shot new headshots, right? And she showed the headshots to her agent. And the agent said across the board for the whole session, every shot was like very flat. You don't pop, you don't this, whatever. So after the fact, which is what you were talking about, like, she contacts me. So we set up a session. So I always ask actors to send me photos, send me your reels, send me your website beforehand so I can kind of get a vibe and grooved in. She sends me these headshots, okay? And what she was wearing, I would have tweaked. I would have tweaked it a little bit, but it wasn't terrible. The thing that killed the entire shoot was her background. The photographer shot her in front of a background color that, when I've done photo shoots with people before and I want to show really bad to really good, that specific color was really bad. So her hair, her makeup, her dress that could work just on her was totally erased, basically, because of the wrong background colors. And I tell actors now, and especially with all the self tapes, your background is basically as important as what you're wearing. It's going to push your image forward, which creates more impact, which also enhances your message, right? Or it's going to be a total distraction, wash you out, and minimize your presence. So that was very interesting. So the thing that you said to me when you went to the photographer, you just knew. I mean, he was very right telling you, jewel tones, but it's a confidence, it's a vibe. I can't even, it's like you own it. Do you know what I'm saying? You own it, and there's a beingness that goes with that. So, and the fact that you remember all of these things, I feel like wrapped with love. I
Well,
love
it
it.
was such a huge event for me. As an actor, we're taught branding, or at least I was taught branding, and I taught branding because I learned it from working in the record business. I learned how important branding was for artists, that it didn't matter how talented you were as a musician or a singer, you had to have a brand. You had to know exactly what you were selling. Were you selling pop? Were you selling R&B? Were you selling jazz? It wasn't like, well, I just perform music. You know, I play in bars and hotels lobbies. That's somebody who doesn't know what their brand is. They're just giving you what you want. And there are many actors who do that. But if we want to make an impact in the business as an actor, we have to define our brand. So I knew that, but I didn't know the impact that color plays. And I believe when we met, colorful headshots were really popping. You know, we were coming out of black and whites and going into color, and you really had to have a sense of what it was. You know, now not only do you have to think about how you look, but now you have to think about what color looks good on you in a headshot.
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate enough in this business to be. I was acting for so many years, like in New York and stuff. So I've been the one who wants to get the job, and I've also been in a position to be able to give a job. And I was working on a project with a producer. This was like, oh my God, like 15, easily 20 years ago. And he had actors send headshots, hard copy, right? Headshots. And he shows them to me, and we're going through the headshots. True story. I got a headshot from an actress who had her hands like this, right? The only thing I remember about the headshot was what color she had on her nails. It had nothing to do with her coloring, right? She had reddish brown hair, but she had bold, like blue red nail polish on, and a dress that had a lot of print and color going on. And it's kind of like, I don't even know where to look. And the thing I remember 15 years later is her nail color. So, unless you're doing an ad for nail color, that is not what you want the takeaway to be. So, yeah, I mean, I just show people all the time how to align everything and empower them with their message and with their presence. And color, I can't even tell you, especially now with everything, especially social media and auditions and everything with a screen. It's not like you walk into the room and, I mean, truly back in the day when you would walk into the room, there's a vibe in that instant, right? There just is, right? Here, we're putting something between us. Like I feel like I'm sitting right next to you now, but it's a screen. And so the visual is, it's just everything. Do you have to do a great audition? Absolutely. I mean, it's not instead of, it's just feeding into your whole journey as an actor. And I mean, there's a book by Judy Kerr, Acting is Everything. Okay. And she's put me in her book years and years ago. I did her colors. Well, she was amazing. So she, shouted it out in her book, and it was wonderful. I get a phone call from an actress who's not even living in LA, right? She's coming to check out where to live and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And she wanted me to come to her hotel. She wasn't even living here yet to do her colors. For her, that was like a major thing because she wanted to know that from the book, she wanted to do the colors before she did any of her marketing, any of anything. And it was just amazing. And one thing about Judy, who was just fabulous, was did her colors, blonde, the light blonde hair, hooked her up in all the right colors. She got makeup, the whole thing. But there was one headshot she wanted to shoot that gave the impression, like character, basically, down and out, not doing well. She did the whole thing with color. Instead of, it was such a great like example. Like did the colors, shot the pictures, and then that's exactly what I'm talking about. She had these beautiful shots, with the turquoise and the peach and all her wonderful colors. And then there was one shot that she did entirely with color, took wrong colors, took down the makeup, did colors that don't work for her, and it was just very powerful, very powerful. So that's why it's just, I call it with my actors, it's like it's a double whammy because I'm going to show you how to look great, and I'm going to show you how to take this concept into character work, especially like say you book a role and at the beginning of the role you win the lottery, I don't know, in life, whatever's going on, and it's fabulous. You really extend that with the right colors. But then over the arc of the story, things kind of aren't going very well. And you lose this, and the girl or the guy or the this and the that, and you're just not doing as well. If you can support that emotional journey with color, with the wrong colors, which colors that wash you out, or you look older, or you look tired, or you look through the travails of life, you just, it's amazing. I've done it. I have done that as an actress where the character had to age like 10 years. So we're not talking I did the whole thing with color. I changed the makeup, I changed the wardrobe, I changed the jewelry colors. Some people are better in silver, some are better in gold. All the little tricks of the trade that I show you, you can bring to your life in general. I mean, I have clients that buy cars in their colors, do their home in their colors. But as an actor, you can really, really bring this to your career, your website. Oh my God, your website. What color is the background of your website? What color is the font? I have actors send me their websites if they have a website beforehand. And I swear, I look at this, and I'm doing all this on a large screen right now. I get the website and I'm looking, and I don't know where to look because there's so much going on. There's a lot of information, but the colors are like a potpourri of color, and as an actor, what is the product? It's not like, the thing you're holding, you are the product. So in subtle ways, you can have your audience, the casting, the agent, whatever, focus on you when your colors are all in sync. So everything around you is feeding you. Real quick, there was an actress who bought, I have scarves, right? That are
Which are phenomenal. They're
you
so print full of color and gorgeous and long and fluffy and
yes.
go
I
ahead.
don't want to be a shameless plug, but I'll tell you what she did. So we do her colors. She buys a scarf. So, and it was a bit of a stretch for her, right, financially to do it, but she loved it and really wanted it. And what she did, I almost fell off the chair when I saw it. She put the scarf in her hair as a hairband, and she had my makeup and all that, and she did her website with colors totally based on the scarf. So she has her picture and then the background and the color of the font, and everything was based on, like, there are 3 or 4 of your colors in one scarf. She pulled the colors from the scarf. So she's there and everything around her is pushing her out there. And it's just this aesthetic presentation. And people don't know. They don't know, oh, she has a scarf and but they just see something. Like, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you right now. That pink is incredible on you. The pink with the blue, and it takes me to the lips, and then I'm in the background and blah, blah, blah. Everything is like happening. And it's just very beautiful. It's very beautiful. And it impinges on the receiver, it's really cool.
I want to ask you about the mature person. Is there a neutral color that works for every um every actor, no matter what the color of their hair, even if they are bald, that there is one one color that will work well for everyone? Okay.
I have to be honest. I mean,
She said no, people. She said
no,
no. For those of you who
every,
can't see, she said no.
I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to answer that question? Everyone can wear basically every color. Okay. It just depends on finding the right shade of that color that's going to enhance you. So you talk about neutrals. Okay. I'm going to just throw out some information here. Dark brown, black, salt and pepper hair. Okay. Great neutrals. Black, charcoal, navy. There is a brown. It's a very dark, cold brown. It's like an espresso brown. Really want to avoid the camels, the tans, the rusts, those kind of earth tones. Okay. If your hair is a soft gray, a la Helen Mirren kind of thing, or like a white, ashy kind of a blonde, then there's something called cafe au lait, which is like a taupey kind of brown. It's a cooler brown, great neutral. Gray, like a mid-rangey gray, not the charcoal gray, but kind of what people call a dove gray.
Is that more of a blue gray?
It's just a lighter valued gray. It's
Okay.
just a little bit lighter, but a blue gray is great. I just happen to have all the colors here.
Okay.
But okay, so yeah, like a taupey kind of a brown, the grays, burgundy wine, like a wine color, is a very good neutral. In fact, in leather, shoes and belts and bags. That's a very good neutral for someone with white blonde, like ash blonde, or a soft gray hair.
Now, what if they are platinum blonde? If they are that bleach blonde.
I see the person, whether it's via Zoom or in person or whatever. Like platinum can be platinum, which can be platinum, and then there's this shade of platinum and blah blah blah. So to me, platinum is a very light valued, very very light, but it's a warm color. Okay, it's a bit of a warm color. So what I'm finding with my gals who are, or my guys, I work with so many guys. I mean, it's been amazing because guys, it's a big deal. Anyway, so it tends to be a warmer color, which ties in with the shades that I've chosen for warm blondes, like flaxen warm blondes, like champagne or champagne blonde, champagne gray, platinum, that kind of a vibe. So their colors can be a lot of the camels, right? And they can wear some of the browns, but they have to be warm browns as opposed to the browns for, can you see that?
Yes.
The
Yes.
ashy ones, okay? So platinum, fabulous, like in, oh my God, there's so many great colors, like the turquoise and the greens and even white. Like white is as different as any other color. When I work, or when we do these interviews, because I have, if you should see what's going on next to me, I show and tell a lot. So I wear, my colors are the same as your colors, right? The black, the white, the very clear, true colors. So I have like shirts in black and I have these same shirts in white. So I just want to show you, and you can even see, I think here, that's my white, okay? Okay, this white is more of a champagne white. Not good for me. But you put this white on someone who's like golden brown hair, deep honey blonde, redheads, like Jessica Chastain, like Jennifer Lopez, like oh God, Julianne Moore. I mean, it's amazing. This kind of a white, and if you put someone in that hair color, like even like Jennifer Aniston, that kind of a hair color, um, the black and the stark white is more like uniform looking. It's like a uniform kind of thing. But you just take the black, because they say we never take black away from anyone for fear of, I don't know what, but I show you how to make black work for you if it's not your best color. So if you take black, but then you do this with it, it kind of tones down the black, right? A bit. And then I would throw on some gold jewelry versus silver. Like I would wear silver because silver works. There's so many things to share. Silver works better with all of these colors, whereas gold is way better
With the warmer, yeah.
you see. And for an actor, especially if it's a headshot, if you do a thin chain, or an earring or something, it's again right up to the face. So it's like the little things, you know what I mean? The little things, even if it's like a thin silver chain. I had a client whose husband just bought her a thin platinum chain. True story. And it wasn't her color. And she took it off at the end of the session. She just, because she saw it like interrupted everything. Because here we're into the makeup and the hair and it's all warm and beautiful. And then the platinum truly looked like it was silver. It didn't even matter. And you can pick up some to have cheap, inexpensive little jewelry pieces, silver, gold, okay? But you take the silver onto our colors, see, and it's great. Now this is crazy. I'm gonna see if this is gonna work through here. Look, if you take the silver on these colors, it's not as good. But if you take a cheap little gold chain, because I have cheap little silver and gold chains, you see how it starts picking up those colors, whereas with the gold, it doesn't work as well.
Mm-hmm.
It looks cheap and brassy, and these are cheap and brassy. But if you work with it with the right colors, especially up to the face, and once and I'm sure you've had this experience, I see it all the time. When you know your colors, you can shop mass merchant, budget, markdowns, everything, and look amazing. And on the other side, I have clients that spend a fortune on their clothes, but they see after we work together, how could I ever have even bought this? It doesn't matter if it's very pricey. If it's the wrong color, it doesn't create a good effect. And all of your colors, whichever palette of color is going to work for you. See, I curate all these colors. I shop for every single one. I don't send away for anything. So not only are there all good colors for you, but I make that every color within your palette can work together, mix and match with each other. So you get a total wardrobe that just rocks, and everything feeds your presence.
Well, I share those swatches with everybody. I don't have mine currently because I let my daughter borrow it. She was getting ready to take some headshots, so I gave her, since we're both same
Mm-hmm.
color palette person. But I have told actors that I know who are getting their headshots to get those swatches, and I recommend those swatches to everybody. If you have a sense of from what we're talking about. And I just want to say that Jill, if you look on YouTube and you go to her channel, she actually has quite a few videos that is breaking down the color palettes for you, so you can tell by the color of your hair. She's got stuff for everybody, whether you are a gray based hair, or black or brown or red or light blonde. She's got it for you, and she breaks down what the swatch is, so you can go to her website and order that little swatch booklet and take it with you when you go shopping. It is a game changer. And and the reason why I like that little book, that little swatch book, is because when you go into a department stores, the lighting is bad, and when you go into the rooms to change, the lighting is bad. So to take those, that little swatch book, and put it, the color against it, it really helps you. It saves you money, it saves you heartache, because you get it in the store and you go, oh, it looks good, and then you get it at home and you see it in daylight and you go, what the hell was I thinking? This sucks.
Yeah.
So I like having that little swatch book readily available when I'm going shopping. I've gotten much better at identifying my colors, but I like having that as a cheat sheet for me.
Yeah, it's great. And people use the swatch book for everything. I mean, for nail color, like when I work, I don't put nail color on. Of course, I have my color. I have bright red on my toes always. But nail color, eyeglasses. I mean, especially if someone wears glasses all the time, it's just part of your whole presentation. You have to include that in your color scheme, right? So if someone is like, I don't know, like a golden brown or deep honey blonde or redhead, and they want to do metallic frames, silver is horrible. Bronze, copper, gold is fabulous. Like a little thing like that. Years ago, I had a client, a guy who just got to LA, and I don't know, someone from the LA Times, a fashion person, it suggested that he and I get together. And I met him, and he's this big hulking guy, right? And he had gold frame, so remember, gold frame glasses like that. Totally cut his face in half because he had like kind of a gray kind of tone in his hair. And I said, and then he wanted me to take him shopping. I mean, this is way back in the day. And I said, the first thing you have to do, you've got to get new glasses. And he totally saw it. As soon as he walked into the room, and he was this big hulking guy, so he made a very strong presence. And the thing I remember are the glasses, right? So eyeglasses are very important. Now, for actors, if you want to do character work, or you're doing character work, or it's a specific character and they're a little off and ditzy and charactery and something, then you as an actor can causatively create that effect by going with shades that are not going to work. Like not everyone is great in tortoiseshell frames. They're just not. And when I see someone like online or whatever, I shout them out if they're doing it right, because I look at the picture and it's like, The glasses take me right into the hair. So it's like a total picture. But yeah, so there are glass frames. There's everything based on your specific coloring. And if you change your hair drastically, okay, I'm not talking about someone who has reddish brown hair and throws some gold highlights, no. But through the graces of the heavens, there was a fabulous website where the senior fashion editor, out of the blue, contacted me. She had been dyeing her hair a warm blonde for years, and she just went dark, very dark hair. And she found me, and she is, someone who can pick and choose and knows everyone and knows everything and whatever. And she saw the difference. It was like amazing. So if you do a drastic hair change, you absolutely need to change up the colors you're wearing. And one of my actor clients, we did a whole session, a virtual session. She's a redhead. We hooked her up with everything. Then she told me she was writing a piece for herself where the character didn't look like her at all. She had black hair. And then she takes out a wig. She shows me the wig. She puts the wig on, and she wanted to find out all the shades of color that are going to work for that character. Totally different than what she got. So she got makeup, she got a swatch book to create that character and pull everything together. And gray hair. Okay. Back in the day, I remember when I had to do a TV show, like an interview, and they wanted each color group, and I didn't have anyone with gray hair. I couldn't find someone who would do it with gray hair. I ended up using the executive producer of the show. He came on the stage because he had gray hair. And so I showed on the blondes and gray hair and this and that. Now, gray hair is like an revolution all across the planet, right? I'm in this film, this award-winning, actually, documentary called Gray is the New Blonde. And they had me as the color expert to show and tell and why and this and that and all that kind of stuff. There are magazines about it I write for. I mean, it's become such a thing because if someone has reddish brown hair or blonde hair or dark brown hair and they go gray, I get the emails. I get the emails, even from old clients, capital letters, help. I let my hair go white, and nothing works anymore. Not the earthy tones, not the rust and the things that they wore for 30 years. You see? So you have to acknowledge what is going on visually in the present. And I just show you how to make it fabulous.
I love it. And I love you talking about changing your hair color because
Mm-hmm.
women are real big. And I've noticed men are getting into the change of hair colors, wanting to be different, putting frosted tips in their hair or highlights in their hair. And it does alter it. I had cut my hair real short and I made it red and none of my clothes fit.
Wow.
The colors just did not work. I had to go out and find clothes. And what was interesting was I had to deal with colors that I personally did not like because of the hair color,
Yep.
because it changed the whole thing. So I used it for a while and then I think I did it for 2 years and then I was done. I was like, okay, I'm going back to black. This is too much for me.
I mean, with the reddish hair, these kind of colors, okay, are really good with the reddish, the warm colors, that kind of a vibe. Your colors, because I missed that whole incarnation with you with red hair, are these colors. So look at the difference.
Yeah.
There's nothing at all that overlaps, right? So if someone has red hair and they do their headshots and then they dye their hair, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. I tell my actors all the time, I say, show up because we're doing everything virtually now, which has been
Hmm.
amazing. The colors read so well. Lighting obviously is very important, but it's been amazing. And I'm super grateful to be able to share this with people all over the planet. But give me the hair color that you're going to be doing. Don't it's a waste of your money, right? Don't do a session and we find everything that's great, and then a month later you dye your hair drastically different. Okay, so that's been very interesting. I mean, the hair color rules the day. Okay, it
Right.
just frames the picture. right? And people are starting, I mean, I have to say, I'm sure it's on the wall somewhere. When In Style magazine, right, contacted me, okay? So I'm like, oh my God, like it's In Style and the fat beauty editor and this and that. And we're chatting. And she said, I thought this was all about your skin tone, right? And I said to her, um, your hair, you lead with your hair color because it frames your eyes and you're smiling, you have to work it and whatever I said. And there was dead silence on the phone. And I'm like, oh my God, In Style magazine. And then she says to me, I love this. She got it. She got it. And they featured the Swatch book. And that was just, the gift from the heavens. But anyway, but it was like people are coming around because they're seeing what I'm talking about.
Yes.
It's not, I would say to people, it's not your mother's colors. It's not back in the day because I did all that. I knew
Right.
about all that. But
Right.
I had my aha moment for myself on camera because I've done like a lot of interviews and stuff. And I noticed when the camera comes in close and see, as we're talking here, we're pretty close here, your hair frames everything. So you just want everything to be in sync with your hair color. And then you can just play. I mean, here to show you things that are in sync versus things that are not in sync, starring. Okay. So if you look at something like this, okay, these colors, this is one of the stars. These colors are beautiful for gray hair, for a white or blonde hair, right? This kind of thing. But something in my colors would be more that. So you have not bad to that, you see. Then you can go into, see, this kind of thing is fabulous. Like when you were talking about your red hair. See, these colors could be great for that. And then what you do is you bring it out with the makeup for the eyes, cheeks, and lip. But this has nothing to do with my coloring. You
Right.
see?
And I think sometimes people fall in love with the colors,
Exactly.
but not what colors fall in love with them. And I think that's really important. And you said something, and I wanted to go back for a second on people dyeing their hair. And I've seen this with actors. They decide they want to be Marilyn Monroe, so they do a platinum blonde,
Hmm.
and then they go from a platinum blonde to a mousy brown,
Big difference. Yeah.
and it doesn't work. Or the platinum didn't work, and then they go to another color that still doesn't work for some reason. And maybe you can speak to this. Sometimes people pick the wrong hair colors.
No, I mean, I totally understand that. I mean, I had a client who booked me years ago in LA, and the reason she booked me was to find out what to do with her hair. And I get to her house, and on her couch, she laid out all her headshots from over the years. Her hair was different colors in every picture. So, I took the skin, the eye, everything into consideration. But I have to say, because I still remember it, when she opened the door, I look at her and her hair was fabulous. But every single thing she was wearing and her makeup took it over here for somebody else. So she has this great hair color, but everything she was doing was fighting with it, right? So if someone wants to change their hair color, I'm going to show them how to rock it. I mean, um, like if someone is like, I just had a young girl who's studying broadcast journalism, and her mom gave her a session with me, and she loved. That's another thing. She loved our colors, like the bright, clear colors. But either she put some red in her hair, and I just said, we're going to go off of what you have. She goes, yeah, but I don't like these colors, and they're not going to. It's not the school color, whatever it was. And so she just pulled the warmth out of her hair to be able to wear the other colors. But you just have to incorporate it. I mean, some people, in fact, I learned this like 30 years ago. You would cover the person's hair and you would just look at the skin and the eyes and the this. But then you take the thing off the hair and you put them in these colors and they don't work. It just doesn't work. I mean, I feel like I'm the OG of this whole concept, and I can own it. I can totally own it because I've seen so much and things that work, however they call it or whatever the terminology is. But I've seen it time and time again, like from celebs being interviewed on talk shows, wearing, I'm not going to, I always shout out people when I think it's fabulous, but wearing these colors, why? I mean, like you put a redhead in like a silvery, sparkly metallic top. Why didn't you do it in copper or gold and feed the whole presence?
I was thinking of George Clooney as you were talking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When his hair was kind of brownish, dark brownish, kind of blackish, he was bland. But the minute he showed up on ER with that salt and pepper hair, he became a star. I mean, there was such a pop to him. And sometimes you see that with people who go gray, who they either go premature gray, and they just, oh my god, it looks so good on them, you know. And so to talk about the, the older actor, the more mature actor who's afraid of going gray, is it courage, is it getting out of their way and just trying it, like, you know, gray doesn't work on everybody, but there are certain people that with their skin tone,
Yeah.
it just makes them look rich.
Yeah, it's fabulous. I mean, I've said it before, I've written about it. I go, gray hair is fabulous. You just need to know how to work it, especially if you're used to something else. There are different grays, there are different shades of gray, right? The very soft, I always use Helen Mirren, the very soft, or Glenn Close or Judi Dench. There's a soft overall gray that wears very different colors, say, than someone who goes gray, like a salt and peppery gray, or what I call a silvery gray, which has a little more depth, a little more dimension to it. Those are two different color palettes. So if someone gets into the gray, but they don't know which gray is the best gray, or how to describe their gray. I mean, I had a client who bought everything, the scarves, and I never even met her. And then she sends me an email that she let her hair go gray. And so she goes and buys things for the gray hair. But then I saw a picture or something. She wasn't that soft gray. She was a salt and peppery gray. And so the colors that she bought for the soft gray are going to wash her out. And so she saw that herself and now is like a happy camper, right? Because it's something also, if someone, especially if they're blonde, like a warm blonde, like a Kate Hudson-y kind of a warm kind of a blonde, and they go gray, you're going very warm to very cool, right? That's a very big shift. Or if you were like a reddish brown hair and you go gray. Again, those are the emails when I get the capital letters and help. And one client who had all my stuff, who was dyeing her hair red, reddish brown, oh, I'd say 30, probably 40 years. She went white. Her hair went white. And I went, and I've done her whole family, and I went and saw her. And I swear to you, she opened the door. I see this. And she had like a bouffante kind of big hair, all white, but she had on big yellow gold earrings from back in the day. Whereas now she should be wearing the platinum or the silver, whatever. And the thing I remember the most are her earrings because it didn't work. Nothing worked together anymore. So we hooked her up with all the right colors. And then I get the email. I just went out to lunch with a friend and immediately started getting compliments the next day because it's a cohesiveness. It's a vibe. It's an energy. It's a thing that people get that it's like, wow, I mean, I was on a plane and this woman sitting next to me had on a sweatsuit, right? And she had gray hair, but it was in this like periwinkle color. And I had to say, how fabulous it was. And she starts like, really? It's just a sweatsuit. And I said, but it's so good on you. You see? So it doesn't matter. You don't have to be dressed to the nines.
Right. It's the color and how it works. So
Exactly.
I want to talk about men because they don't get enough love when we're talking colors looks. It's always focused more on the women and men. I was thinking about, there are stores that offer men like 3 suits for $500, and so, and I know actors who will say, well, I'm playing a judge or a lawyer. I need suits, so I'm going to go and get 3 suits.
Mm-hmm.
But they're getting suits off the rack that are available. They're not really going intentionally to look for colors that will set them apart. So they'll find suits, and you talked about the grays not matching up. And so with you, for men, their hair color is just as important as women.
Absolutely.
So they need to know what gray looks the best on them, that would look like a money shot, as opposed to just a gray suit that would make them look like, they kind of missed the mark. They got a suit on, but it's
Yeah.
not it's not impressive.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't necessarily go gray with every guy by any means. Any means. Like, and I even see it with guys, with women, with the district attorneys on the procedurals, on the shows. Um, you can look like professional. In fact, you look more professional, and not entry level, when you take neutral colors that are your colors, right? Like if you have a guy who has reddish brown hair, auburny kind of hair, and you put him in gray, it's horrible. It's probably one of their worst colors. So I don't suggest gray. I mean, I had a client, I have a lot of guys who I work with, but like these colors for a guy, okay? And also now there's so much color in men's fashions. It's like unbelievable. I mean, some of these greens, like that foresty kind of green as a suit, is amazing. Although I'm seeing guys in like a lot of clashy colors, but I'm not going to go there with this. But some of these earthier browns are so much better for a guy with warm colored hair, right? I wouldn't put a guy in a gray suit unless like you do a charcoal gray. If he has like salt and peppery, like a la George Clooney, salt and peppery kind of hair. I see, and I wouldn't put this guy in earth tones at all, at all. But this guy was very good in navy. This is like a typical, like, if you need a business wardrobe, say, for a lawyer. Okay, you have the black, you have the charcoal gray, you have the navy, and then you complement it with the right shirt color. And this is where, for a guy, the tie becomes everything. And you have a swatch booklet, and you either get a solid or you get a tie that incorporates a few of your colors. Because for a guy, the tie is like the makeup for a woman. It's right here, right? Especially if you're doing headshots, and you want to do a businessy look. I mean, I go through this with actors all the time, So here, this person who has like a soft gray hair can definitely, you see all the grays in here, right? Can do the gray suit. And then you pull in some of these kind of tones, or they can also do like this blue, like the darker blue suit, but you pull in some of this in the shirt or the tie. It's just beautiful. If I flip the channels and watch newscasters, because they're all shot like this, the ones that nail it, it just blows my mind. It's like I can't not look at them, and then it enhances whatever they're talking about. The tie, everything is just feeding their presence. Whereas other newscasters, even if they're on the same screen, like 3 people or whatever, you see by wearing colors that are not good, it looks cheaper, it looks brassy, it detracts. It detracts from their presence, again, which dilutes their message. It's quite a thing.
Let's talk about their shirts,
Yeah,
because you don't have to wear a white shirt. You
no,
just have that the shirt color just has to match your color palette.
exactly, exactly. So if someone is wearing like camel, like see this guy, if he's like a very light sandy blonde kind of hair, I always try to find people, guys that are always hard. There's one, I can't remember his name. But anyway, light, very light blonde hair. See, you can go into, oh, like the whites, like an ivory. You don't want that white. And I will tell you one look that's really cool is if you do a camel kind of a jacket or like a toasty brown and you complement it with an ivory shirt, fabulous, very sophisticated, very, I mean, back in the day, I remember sitting in an audition for an attorney and I had this jacket that was made for me for something that's my green, like a darker version of my green. And I just wore it and I'm looking around the room. I come into the room and everyone was in black or gray or navy or whatever, very that, and if they're going sometime, and sometimes for people it's fabulous, but if they're not in that kind of a palette, it's just dull and boring.
And if you're playing that kind of a character, it's
100%.
perfect. Yes.
An actress who I did a session with sent me a lot of her headshots, and they were all good, right? I mean, from her viewpoint, there wasn't one that was like character looking. And I'm looking at these headshots, and I was like, wow, she is nailing it here, and this looks really good. And then she had a business headshot, right? And it just was all wrong, right? It was all, but she had it all right in these other ones. So I was like, so I just said to her, we did the session and all that, and I said, yeah, that one, that could be a good character shot, like again, lower entry level, helping
pro bono, working for the city.
Exactly. And she was like, really? Like when she shot that picture, she thought it was perfect for a business look. It just happened to be a suit jacket with a blouse. I mean, but the colors, and the thing that amazed me was all these other shots I'm looking at, she nailed it. They were great. So it's kind of like a hit or miss thing when you don't know. I mean, back in the day, I did a segment for a TV show in LA, a news channel, and I wanted to get a copy of at the time, DVD. And the gal who hosted it says to me, she goes, oh, I ran into the news director at the elevator today. And she said, we've done makeover stories before, but I've never seen something like this. It was in a location shoot in Studio City with a few of my clients. So that's all I have to hear, right? So I called her up and we had a meeting and she hired me to come and do their anchors. Okay. So while I'm there, she takes me on set to talk to one of their anchors, happened to be there, their lead anchor. And he's all dressed really, really well. So she says to him, this is Jill and she's going to blah, blah. And he's like, wow, cool. And he says, so how did I do? Right. And I look at him, I'd already booked the gig, right? I looked at him and I said, I got to say, I couldn't do any better. I could not do any better. True story. The next night I turn on that channel, everything he was doing was wrong. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is that once you know your colors, it's not hit or miss anymore. You just own it. You nail it, and it's yours for always. And if you change your hair drastically, you change up the colors. End of story. Same thing with the makeup, all the colors I had. Foundation, I don't even get into. I say, foundation is 1,000% based on someone's skin tone. I say, go find your favorite brand, blend it into the jawline. I don't even go there. But for the eyes, cheeks, and lips, it's all about the hair. So I have, paraben-free lips, mineral-based eyeshadow, lips that are totally drawn from these colors.
And I am going to share my Jill Kersh colors that I had gotten. And from this is how I get my makeups. When I go get my makeups, I take this with me to find what matches.
Oh my God. Well, I just want to say, I will tell you, that has become a collector's item because the manufacturer discontinued the mold, the plastic casing, years ago. So we sold out everything we had, and now everything on my website is individual. right? Is just you get your lipsticks that you love, that whatever. But that is a collector's item.
All
You
right.
should
Yes.
hang on to that, baby.
So I want to talk about you mentioned jawline. So I want to talk about colors because again we're talking older actors and we start getting that double chin. So what can we do to help our jawline as we are aging?
Well, we are all about jawlines, okay? So I'm going to show you really fast, right? On me, okay? This is a shade of purple. This is like an orchid kind of color, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to show you the difference. A shade of a color. Oh, speaking of jawlines, you see? There
Mm-hmm.
it is. Now watch.
Mm-hmm.
Very flat. It's pulling everything down. So it makes my face look fuller here, right?
Yes.
Whereas the other one, I just throw it somewhere, is much, what do they call it? Snatched. Like it's much, where else did I put it? Anyway, it's much, much better. Even like the green, right? Look at this green. So I have green eyes, right? So people say, oh, you can wear like that olivey color. Now, if you look at my eyes and you look at the color, it's not bad. But look at the difference between that and that.
Wow. Yes. Yes.
Oh, it's just not, it's horrible. I'm going to tell something for actors specifically. So, red carpet, when everyone's going to be walking their red carpets. Okay. Most of the shots on a red carpet are full body shots. Not all, most. Okay. So, a lot of the celebs dress for their hair color, dress for their eyes, dress to match their eyes. So you have beautiful actresses, blue eyes. I see an actress wearing a gorgeous dress in a dusty blue color. Now, if you were going to look at her up close and you look at her eyes and you look at the color, it's like, wow, that's fabulous. But most of the shots are not like that. So she has this long, goldeny, gorgeous hair falling down her back against a dress that's not the right color. Whereas if you can do the blue, that's in your palette, you're still going to get the kick with the eyes, with the pop, but you're going to get the whole picture. The whole picture. Just think about that for red carpet, for press, for any of that kind of stuff. Um, like I did a talk show years ago, and it was very cute and fun and banter and all that. But I wore this green jacket, right? And the green eyes, and the host makes this, well, your eyes and your kiwi green eyes, very little la la cute and all that. It was only because I knew the color. I knew the color that I felt great in. And I mean, I didn't know he was going to be so cute and adorable and flirty and whatever, but it elicited a response because it was the right shade of the color. So, truly, if you have green eyes or you have blue eyes and you're wearing the right blue or the green, you're definitely going to get an extra kick.
You're going on to the red carpet or you're going to awards. If actors have been working for a while, they have elevated their game. They are doing more red carpets, they're doing more award shows. What are colors for them? We talked about the jawline
Yeah.
to make them look slimmer because as you get older, sometimes if you're not going to the gym and keeping up with your exercise, you will start putting on a little bit of poundage. And I know a lot of older actors who get very self-conscious that they've picked up some weight. And so are there colors that they can wear that will make them look a little slimmer, just like you just showed us with the swatches around the jawline that give you a bit of jawline or make your face flat and fat. um, do you have the same thing for clothing?
Yeah. I mean, again, I still would go off their hair color because each palette, I would go darker for the colors. I mean, that illusion, but I definitely wouldn't all go black for everyone. The thing is, if black is not your color, and again, I show you how to work it to make it better, but if it's not and you're very light and fair, the black can look very solid. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's just it like a black hole. I don't know. It's just you see this beautiful little face, and then there's like a lot of black. So in each of the palettes, you can wear like look at this. Oh, this is fabulous. Like you see these purples
Mm-hmm.
for someone again who's reddish brown hair, deep honey blonde, or redheads. Right, the purples are fabulous. Also, purples are amazing on camera. I have found blue, purple, sometimes greens are really really good on camera. Reds can be tricky. I've worn red on camera and it reads based on the monitor too orangey a little bit. So I like the purples and the blues in general. But what I would suggest is to go to a little bit of the stronger valued colors within your palette. You see these kind of blues?
Mm-hmm.
See, you have the purples, you have the blue, even this dark green is good. See, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do this to give that illusion of thinner. See, if you want to do the green, I'd go to the darker one. I wouldn't go here, even though these are gorgeous colors on the person. See, and then here, see, if I was looking at this, I'd go here. Okay, I'd go here, the rusty kind of deeper brown, like those kind of tones.
Now, what about two toned? I'm just thinking about women. Sometimes when you go to high end stores, they may have two tone gowns. So the top maybe a little lighter and the bottom a little darker, or vice versa. Is that something that they should stay away from? Should they keep it in one darker color?
In my opinion, yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't break it up on a red carpet, especially if you're talking about a larger size body. I like one color all the way down. You can throw on some fabulous color in the earrings and the makeup, whatever.
And what if they are petite, smaller, and more rotund? Would you suggest that they still stay in that one color to thin them out a little bit?
Yeah, I would. I would. And then, styles have a lot to do with it. Tailoring is everything. Tailoring is very important. And I mean, if you're going to wear a bright, light kind of color, you need to own it. It's like I would, if for body thing, again, this is, everyone. Everyone has their own stuff about bodies in general, but if you want to create an illusion of smaller, thinner, more cut, whatever, my initial thing is to go solid and go into the stronger, darker shades within your palette.
Okay.
Um, I mean, you could make anything work in your color palette, but just get the idea of a really bright, uh, God, I don't know, like a hot pink, okay, all the way up and down in a gown if you're trying to minimize the size. That kind of a dress, which it's kind of cool, where it gives the illusion, it's two toned, but it gives a thinner illusion, and then the sides are black or something. You know that when I'm so anyway. I mean, there are ways to play with it. You can look in magazines if people can have a stylist. A lot of times when they have a swatch book, though, I've heard from my client, I feel like I'm my own stylist. You just play with it. But if it's a very important and you want it to be perfect, you look at a lot of pictures. I mean, on Google, my goodness. And I have to tell you, I've done photoshopping of some celebs, gorgeous women. People are falling over themselves to dress them, and they nail it. A lot of them are like amazing, but sometimes I have seen very gorgeous women in the wrong color, and so we photoshopped from what they wore, just their dress, to the right color, and people see them and they say, "Oh yeah, but you changed your skin tone." I said, "I didn't touch the skin. It was just the dress." But
Yeah.
because the dress color is right, it just warms up everything.
So with that, I want to go into uh, an area that we don't really talk about much, like prints,
Hmm.
because now we're out of solid colors, and some of us like a lot of prints. We like, the popular thing is the leopard skin, the leopard
Hmm.
prints, the zebra prints, all these different prints.
Yeah.
Give me the good and the bad about those types of prints.
So zebra, we're talking bold. We're talking black and white. We, you and I, with the dark hair color and all that, are really good. I would not put zebra on a redhead. I wouldn't put it on like a warm blonde. I would put more leopard on a reddish brown hair or like a deep honey blonde kind of person. Um, and then there are different shades of leopard. Some are cooler, some are warmer. Um, yeah, I mean, zebra is a very strong statement, especially if you're doing it as the main event. If you have a clutch or a shoe or whatever, it's different. But yeah, if you're wearing zebra on a red carpet or an interview, or whatever, you just have to own it. You just have to own it. I don't know. I mean, it can be so overpowering and distracting, or it can be absolutely fabulous. And it's the same kind of thing with the metallics, right? I've seen people wearing the silver metallic for an interview. So they're sitting on the chair and the host is there, right? And they're shot like this. And it's so hard to keep looking at their face because, first of all, you have a texture, a metallic, and it's kind of like that. And it's the wrong color, right? So in my mind, I just flip it out and I can put them in a metallic in the gold or the bronzy color. And even with the sheen and all that, I couldn't help but look at their face. So you really want to be, what's the word, intentional.
And that reminds me of trendy stuff, that you got to be careful with the trendy stuff because, especially with headshots, a lot of times you have actors that will get wardrobe that is very trendy for that shoot, and then a year down the line it doesn't work anymore because that trend is over and
Yeah,
now it's dated.
yeah.
And so, um, when you are getting ready to get your headshots done and picking your wardrobe, what do you recommend actors kind of pull together? Just basics, we're not to get into their brand or whatever, but just basics.
Yeah, what I see when actors send me their headshots or I look at different photographers, they're all talking about, which you're much more familiar with than I am, the different looks that you want to go for. So I would look at what you want to go for versus trendy or not trendy. I mean, if you put, like, now it's springtime and florals are all over the place, right? Well, I'm not a floral print kind of gal, right? So I'm not going to do a headshot in a floral dress, even if it is my colors, right? It's just not my look. It's not my vibe. Now, if I book a role, of course, put me in a floral thing. I have to tell you, I booked something years ago on Everybody Hates Chris, like a long time ago. And the audition was fabulous. My favorite kind of auditions where you improv, and I love doing that. So they asked me the sizes and all that stuff. And then I show up on the lot and someone said to me when they wanted the sizes, just bring what you wore. And so I did. And they ended up using that jacket. So yeah, I mean, some people like kill it in florals, and some people it's just not. So you have to find what's right for you. But what I am seeing more with photographers is it's very you don't just show up and do headshots. You know what I mean? You have to have a plan. See, this is all very new to me. But what looks are you going for? Uh, People talk about types, like their classes or people that work with people or have people type you or what you are most like how they see you. And a lot of times when actors send me their headshots, even before we do a session, they'll say, yeah, they were told this and this. And I said, really? I said, well, I could see you blonde. So, yeah, I don't know as far as trendy with headshots. I don't even know if that's a bit of a younger thing. I don't know. I mean, if people are We're talking over 40, 50, 60, trendy. I don't know if I'd go there
Okay.
specifically. I
Okay.
mean, sometimes there are colors that are trending,
Okay.
and I've written about that. Whereas you can wear purple was trending. Someone said to me, "Who can wear it?" Everyone can wear it. It just depends on the right shade of that color. So you can always be on trend, but you don't necessarily have to go with trends.
Does your color palette change in the summer from the winter?
No, not necessarily. I mean, what you do is you pick up different fabrications, different textures. So, like in the summer, you go the cottons, the linen, whatever, um, in your color. Whereas here, this is a random swatch book. Okay, there's a lot of these colors around now. Springtime, these are very springy colors, but I've seen people kill it in the winter with a cashmere sweater in here you know
Hmm.
um, these greens are amazing. They're very springtime, summertime, but depending their fabric, you can still do them in the fall. And sometimes, honestly, your colors are all over the place. It's just wow. And sometimes it's harder to find. They really are. It is, and that's just the way it is. But on the other side of that, you can score on sale racks by knowing this. I mean, I said to someone in a meeting, I could make something that could be marked down 3 times in the corner of Macy's or whatever. And if you put it on the right person, it's a done deal. It's gone.
I am a believer of that. How do you help a client overcome the fear of stepping out of their usual color comfort zone?
I'm very gentle. I show them. I show them what it could be. I just try it. Just try it. You don't have to make a major investment. Just go to, Target and buy a few tops, and you'll see. I mean, I'm trying to get a good example. I mean, that's a great question. It is a great question. I say you have to step out of your color box sometimes. And then you see, then what happens is they'll kind of tread lightly in it, and then they start getting the compliments. And then it's like, it's just a whole other thing. They're getting positive reinforcement. I mean, they get it from me, they see and all that, but it's so different. Same thing with makeup. We go makeup shopping on my site with clients, right? And we pull the best of the best for them and all that. And they're like, the other day, someone says to me, I said, I would definitely, she has these blue eyes and she has darker hair. And I said, oh God, I would play up the grays and some pinks and some navy. Really? She goes, oh, I use brown and neutral colors. I am, not so much. So she got some shadows and she's a happy camper. Um, it's a lot, especially with lips. With lipstick, oh my God. God, people are very stuck in, my friend from Texas, in the bubblegum pink. Wore this pink lipstick forever. And I said, why don't you just try to warm it up a little bit? And then on the website, I have so many choices. It's not like you only get one lipstick. You can play. You have a lot of different stuff. So it's just by having them try. And I want to tell you another. You bring up these stories. Back in the day, I was in Palisades or something. Anyway, I would donate like a lot of things with me, sessions or whatever, the fundraisers for the kids, for the schools, for charities, and all that. So someone had a little party with some ladies, and I went. I was the entertainment anyway, and they all bought my stuff, right? So I would say, not exaggerating, I would say a year later, I get a phone call from this woman, and she goes, "Yeah, I was at this party that you did." And I go, "Oh my God, yeah!" And everyone was saying how good she looked in these colors, right? So she bought the whole thing. And she told me on the phone, it's like confession. She goes, I let it sit in my car for a really long time. And then one day I was doing pickup at school, and she said, I'm just going to try this. And it was the makeup, the lipstick, whatever. And she got all these compliments just from like the pickup line at school. And she said, it was great. It was like, she goes, I just had to call and tell you that I didn't use it for so many months. Anyway, it was just lovely because she was doing this and I thought she should be doing this. And it wasn't like cousins. It wasn't close. It was like on the other side of town. And so it was great. it was a positive reinforcement is always lovely. Bottom line, if they're coming to me, there's something that they want, they're looking. And so sometimes they're more open.
Do you have a good success story of someone who you gave, helped them pick the right colors, and you went and you turned somebody's life upside down where now they are rocking not just the navy blue and gray, but they're actually putting different colors in their closet?
I can tell you so many stories like that. I mean, um, with the guys, he needed a tuxedo for this mega event, and instead of then he was in the earth tone palette, and I said, "Why don't you try this?" And unbelievable. I mean, the difference was like amazing. I grabbed this because I thought you were going to ask me about testimonial stuff. Um, that was one thing, but I mean, I hear it all the time. I have a woman who was desperate. I mean, she spent so much money over the years and doing her colors and having it done and da da da, and it wasn't ever right. And then we worked together, and I switched up the whole thing, the entire palette. There was nothing that she was doing that was right, but she was told that this was right. That's always a tough thing because they're sitting there with this stable information, and then I come and like blow the whole thing apart, and then they start getting the great feedback, and so that's, and these are people, my if I had to tell you my main client base, it's 40s, 50s, 60s. I mean, yes, in LA, lots of my kids, I call them my kids, they could almost be my grandkids now, but the new kids in town that come to get into the business, and I love working with them and helping them. But most of my clients are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and this gray hair thing for work now is off the charts. I mean, I have clients that are booking modeling gigs that are being, it's a new day, it's a new dawn. But this one gal, she's probably in her 40s, I guess. She did a session with me years ago, and I did it in person with her, and she had all this curly hair, and it was great. And we did her, and it was a reddish brown. I did her colors, whatever. I've used her on TV too since then. But anyway, turns out it was a wig. I had zero idea it was a wig. She was like had this like dark complexion. She was a dark skinned woman, and the hair was off. It was fabulous, and everything looked really good. And then when she told me it was a wig, she had black hair underneath, like straight black hair, and I was like, "This is amazing." So she got the colors and, but anyway, she sent me this thing. Obviously, I'm not going to read the whole thing now, but I was literally off my chair. She says how Jill Kersh saved my career, right? And basically, what she's talking about is she auditioned for something, and she knew the casting person. Blah blah blah. Jill Kersh saved my entered my life. She saved my career. I'm an actress, and how I show up to an audition is critical. So she was a commercial audition. She goes, I was leaving a commercial audition earlier in my acting career, and a casting director pulled me aside. And then she goes, this is the moment you dream about, right? When the casting director pulls you aside. But this is not the great story. It said, so she tells her, the casting director says to her, I just wanted to let you know that the shirt you're wearing looks terrible on camera. That color does nothing for you. So the girl was totally shocked and did it, and then it didn't work, and la di da, and all this. As a woman of color, I need all the proper lighting I can get without having my wardrobe upstage me. She goes, I left the audition mortified and blah da da. I was scheduled for work. Oh, she met me at a workshop. That's where I met Jill. She was a breath of fresh air. Lovely. But what did I? Oh, I spoke with her about the problem, and I needed help, and we set up an appointment, and blah, blah, blah. And then she talks about the wig, so she got the 2 palettes, whatever. But it was just like, she goes, your contribution has allowed my career to soar. So that was one thing. And then there was a guy I met at a workshop, and he booked a session, and he specifically said to me, it was down to him and one other actor for a role in a soap in New York. So I go to his house, we do the colors. So now he's showing me his clothes. And he takes the shirt So now he knows all his good colors. And he takes the shirt out of his closet and he says, this is the one that I wore for the audition. And what happened was he knew the casting director. And the casting director told him, he told me this at the meeting. He said, the casting director said it was down to you and one other person. And you washed out really bad on camera. And then he shows me the shirt that he wore. Well, of course, the shirt wasn't in his palette at all. And it was just like, it was like a new dawn for him. And I'll tell you another thing with guys, if you tell a guy that he has dreamy blue eyes in junior high school, at least half of his wardrobe are blue shirts. Okay, end of story. It just is. But there's blue and there's blue and there's a different blue and there's blue. And he had dreamy blue eyes, except the blue that he wore for the audition was a very cool, dusty, pale blue. And his coloring was on the other side of that. It needed more of a teal kind of richer blue. Anyway, so those were two things. So it makes a big difference. And I love my clients' wins. I can't even tell you how happy it makes me. I mean, I just want everyone to soar and do well and have fun.
You talked about the woman going to a commercial audition. When you go to commercial auditions, you are told to wear bright colors. That's, wear uplifting colors. So older people wearing brighter colors don't always get it right. What do you have to say about that?
I know from commercial auditions and from clients and myself, I have a different viewpoint on it. I have the viewpoint that I want the actor to look bright in the color. Okay? It's different than telling an actor, wear bright colors. Because a lot of times, if you tell an actor to wear bright colors, for sure they're going to do that bright blue. I mean, that's like, that's a for sure. Okay? They're going to do the bright blue. I have someone who wore yellow, and basically what you see, and especially if they're running the tape really fast, is the color. That kind of color, if it's not your color, will just eat you up. You know what I mean? I want the actor to look bright and alive and shining in what he's wearing or she's wearing, and also every palette has bright colors. Every palette has bright colors. Would I wear like these kind of colors? No, but I'd wear these, you see? But someone who's going to wear these colors should not be wearing these bright colors. There's bright and then there's bright. It's like you want your right bright.
I love that. That's a slogan. Wear the right bright. So what got you into being a color consultant? Because you said you were an actor. What was the shift for you that said, I think I want to do this?
Yes, I was acting, and I also grew up in New York City in the Garment Center. Back in the day when 7th Avenue was the Garment Center, everything, it was just a magical place. But anyway, both my parents were in the business, in the fashion industry. And so to support my acting habit, I would work retail. I didn't wait tables. I would work retail or I would work wholesale in showrooms. So I was around that whole thing. And it's amazing how things have just come. And then I learned way back in the day the whole concept of having your colors done and what that is and blah, blah, blah. And I learned that theory, which I'm not doing now. But
which was the winters, the summer, the falls.
Exactly. And then we had a write-up in the Best of LA, which was amazing. And I got calls from up and down Southern California. And I went to someone's house on Mulholland Drive, and she opens the door and she said, oh yeah, no, I've had my colors done. I really wanted to get together with you, but they told me I'm parked summer and I can wear a couple things from winter and I can wear this. I was so not what I was doing. And the bottom line is, does it work? You look at the presentation and is it working? So then I started having my own moments of being on camera, and I just had the ta-da moment. Actually, the first time I had the ta-da moment, the mini ta-da moment, was on QVC, when I did something on QVC, and the host loved the product. She loved the whole thing. but she had changed her hair color, but her skin was this kind of a tone, but her hair was something else. And I'm like, I don't even know. What do I have to come down on one side? And it was fine, and it was a great segment and all that did well. But I knew at that moment that if I had just gone off of the hair color and had her wear something that fed this new hair color, which based on her skin tone, maybe it wasn't the best, maybe it was okay, but you make it work. You can make any, again, I'm saying anything work when you're supporting it. I just had my own aha moment. And that was, oh my God, we were the best of LA was like early 2000s, and then the In Style. And then, you know, I just kind of got into this. And the bottom line is it works, and it's so simple. That's the other thing. People have written a lot of books about this. And I had a client who booked an appointment. She took a hotel room at Universal Studios because she lived like in San Diego. I go to the hotel room, I do her colors, and she's telling me that she's so confused about what works for her because she read this book and she doesn't understand it, blah, blah, blah. So I did her colors. She's this happy camper. It was lovely. So she had the book there. So she gave me the book. So I don't know, a week or two later, I went to get an oil change in my car, and I'm sitting and I'm waiting. And I had taken the book with me, and I'm sitting there reading this, looking at this book, and I live this, right? And I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. It's so complex, and it's just not what I'm doing. And so I just kind of stuck with what I know, find the fabrics, the colors that work the best. And then people who would buy them say, oh, well, I'm a winter and I got your Swatch book and you don't have this and blah, blah, blah. And then they'd show me their Swatch book. And I said, I would never put that on someone who I know what a winter is. I mean, you know, with the darker hair, I know, but I would never do that. So it's kind of came from, and then I also knew how great this would play on television. So it was kind of taking my background of being on camera. I have obviously a lot of energy and I loved playing with people and I love doing things like that. So it was taking that plus coming up with my own technique, system, philosophy, or whatever, and just going for it. And now people are really coming around. It's very interesting. It's very interesting to see.
Now let's talk about your merchandise, because what I love, uh, not only are you a color expert, but you make it so easy. What I appreciated from working with you back in the day was that you made it so easy for me. You gave me, you had the swatch book, you had the makeup, you had the scarves, those outrageously gorgeous scarves, and you really had um your merchandise together. So it wasn't just you giving me, well, these are good colors, now you go figure out the rest. You really had a system in place that made it easy, and you make it easy for the actor. I think, someone who, I don't want to be trying to figure it out after I paid a lot of money for you to tell me what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't want to then go and figure it out. So, what made you think, you know what, I should also carry some pieces with this?
Well, I mean, it's a package, it's a whole thing. I mean, I say to actors, I say to everyone, I would rather someone not wear color on their lips, cheeks, and eyes than wear the wrong colors. Okay. Because 100%, if you're wearing the right colors, say with no makeup, you're going to look pretty good. If you start putting, like, say, with your colors and you start giving me a brown lipstick, it's going to be very flat. It doesn't work with the colors. So you don't get the payoff. You don't get the bang. You don't get the whole picture. So the makeup is great. I mean, it's really, I mean, it's not organic for sure, but it's great quality. I mean, again, I was saying paraben free lips, and they're all pressed minerals. I mean, someone said to me once, do you wear your own makeup? And I'm like, of course. I couldn't, she says to me, back in the day, this gal did a makeup infomercial. So she was hired to do the makeup for a makeup show. This is so long ago. And she's doing makeup and she couldn't stand the product. So she ended up using her own kit. I mean, if my name is on something, I mean, you know me well enough already. I mean, if my name is all over everything, the makeup, the things, it has to be really, really good. And I mean, I have clients, with the private jets and the Chanel and the this, they all have my stuff, so because it works, it's the right color and the quality is excellent. They're just pressed minerals. I say you use all my product with a very light hand. There's a lot of payoff. There's a lot of pigment. So you don't have to work it to get you know, any pigment. They're like, if someone wants a great red lip, I said, well, everyone can rock a red lip. In fact, I've done an email about that. But it's the right red, right? People say, oh, I'm afraid to wear a red lipstick, but I really want to try one. And one woman who's blonde, who I'd never met, she wanted all of the lipsticks and everything. And she goes, send me all the lipsticks, but no red. And I had just found a really good red for the warm blonde hair. And I said, you have to try it. You just have to just try it. P.S. That lipstick is now her favorite lipstick. So when people say they can't do something, it's just because they don't either feel confident enough to try it, which I've taken the guesswork out of doing. And I've give you everything. It's like, but also they don't want to make a mistake. And if you're doing a red lip, that's a statement. And I've seen it done right a lot, but I've seen it done wrong a lot. And especially for actors, for headshots, you don't want the headshot to be around your red lip. End of story.
So let's talk about statements. When you pick a certain color, that color is to make a certain statement. So the red says sexy. The leopard suit says daring and sexy, or the zebra suit or dress. Those are very very specific. They are intended to make you stand out.
Mm-hmm.
And so you said earlier that you have to be able to own it. Do not wear something you cannot own. I loved buying secondhand clothing, and then getting it tailored for me. The really good quality, because older pieces like from the 50s, the fabric is so rich and beautiful. And I got a lame formal outfit, like it was a gown with a jacket. I had it altered to make it mini, and I kept the jacket long. And I used it when I was doing stand-up shows, and I had gotten these beautiful black boots, and that's when my hair was it was red, so I could
Oh,
wear that. But I just remember that when I would wear that outfit, I felt like a rock star. So when I went on stage, you couldn't say anything to me because I was walking in that energy.
yeah.
As an actor, how can they start to find those pieces or find those things with that color and that fabric that gives them a superstar energy? Because that's the thing. And when I would put that outfit on, I was the superstar for that night. There was none of you guys came on that set like, yes, yes, the queen is in the house. Because I think actors sometimes are afraid to show up and show out.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, I don't want to, I don't want to stand out, which is so interesting because as an actor, you got to stand out. And so to, that sometimes actors start to feel uncomfortable and so they disappear. And color, for me, color makes you stand out. You cannot wear this pink jacket. It's actually part of a suit, but you can't wear this and try to hide. They're gonna see you in a sea of dark outfits. You're the one that's gonna stand out. And I always tell actors, when you're doing an event, wear color. Do not wear black. Do not wear muted color that you're gonna blend in. You're there to stand out. So am I right on this or not?
I love it. I love it. See, I totally got your energy about when you're wearing that, and you're there for the party and it's happening, you're creating the part. In a way, actors should do that all the time. In a way, I mean, I get that, when you're wearing the thing and you're owning the room, but it's like, you know I want that for people all the time, especially if they're putting themselves out there. And I mean, here's the thing, it's like there's can be such a scarcity of even auditions, just to get a shot at the whole thing, to have what you're talking about, like that energy in general, right? See, to me, where that's like a moment, that's like on stage and you're sexy and strong and all that in power. But in a way, I want that energy. I want that energy all the time. I'd love to have that energy all the time. But you want that feel good. I know that I'm here, and I'm here to create an effect, right? To create a really great effect, and I'm going to take you all along with me, and that's just power. That's just power. That's just owning the room. I mean, I could list times when I had done auditions when I thought I was going to just go in and the casting director was there and I felt really good about it and all that. And then I opened the door. Not only is the star in the room, but the executives are in the room. And instead of, like, a good friend of mine would say, "Oh God, I would love that," and they all get to see my work and all that, I would have gone through the floor in a hole. I was like, I didn't even know what the hell I did. I mean, and it was such a cute little part, but I went so effect of, like, oh my God. Like, I walked in there feeling like I know the casting director, I know he likes me, we're going to do this thing. And then they're all there. And instead of embracing it, this is like a long time ago, but instead of embracing it, I just went effect of it, of that moment. And so I immediately minimized myself. I mean, and it's just, you don't want to go there. So the more one can have, they're like, I'm just here. I'm here at this moment in present time, and I'm just going to show my stuff.
And see, for me, going into a room to go to the callback where everybody's there, I'm for it. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. I have an audience. We can go. There's something to that, to owning it, wearing your color, whatever that color is, that you feel empowered in, that you feel so good. And I think as actors, we should own it. We should have our couple of colors that we rock, and that when we put on whatever that outfit is, that color is like, yeah, baby, I'm here. Where's the party? Let's go. The party's here now because I'm here.
It's like being your biggest cheerleader.
Yes, because you have to be your biggest cheerleader. Every actor is trying to get to the head of the line, so you need every tool at your disposal to help you get to the front of the line confidently, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And when they put you on tape, right? I mean, obviously there's self tapes now, but back in the dark ages, when they would put you on tape, just get the idea. There are all these other people that are different but kind of similar, and they're all called in for the same thing. And not only are you in a callback, which is such a great thing, but what is going to set you apart?
Yes, you talked about this earlier. You want to have that pop, just like when you're taking the headshot, to put a color, because the headshots are this big.
Yes, yes. And you know what? I'm going to tell you a quick story about that. So we were working on a project, and I needed a guy in his mid 30s, okay, with a certain hair color. So someone said to me, oh, this is a long time ago too, like, why don't you go on Now Casting, right? Like a casting site, and put in what you want, and all these pictures are going to, and I never did this before, like with the thumbnail things. So I'm looking, and it was late at night, and it's like, oh my God, I'm looking and looking. All of a sudden, this guy popped, and I was like, whoa. So what you want is the thumbnail, you click on it and it blows up. And I see his name. I thought I was going to fall off the bed. He was a client of mine. He was a client of mine from a while back, but the thing that he did everything that we had talked about. He was wearing, see, I still remember it. He had like this deeper sandy, blondie, browny hair with a plaid shirt, but the plaid was old colors, right? And then his background was something, it was kind of muted, but it was those colors. Out of a sea of people, I clicked on his thing and I got in touch with him. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was such a validation, it was great.
Can you talk a little bit about plaids and using them in a way that brings you success?
Yes, I just worked with an actor, in fact, and he wanted one of the looks to be like that. In fact, I suggested like a lumber shirt. What do they call it?
Yeah, a Pendleton.
But I said to him, don't do the typical, the black and the red for you. It's going to be totally overpowering. So he did, from the Swatch book, he did the deep greens and some brown and maybe some tan, and it was fantastic. And then I didn't even bring him up today because he was younger. I mean, he's probably like in his 30s or young 30s. He wrote me this, he told me that, and he shot all these new headshots. After we did the work together, he got, in like, I don't know, a week or so, 3 callbacks for something and called in for something that he really wanted from these headshots. So you can definitely do plaid. In fact, it's a look. It's a certain kind of a look. I told him, I said, that would be one look I would do for you, for sure. And he got called back. And another thing that he had, because he had been in the military, he had a shot of himself in, I guess, like camo, fatigue kind of colors. Now, for some people, that's hard. That color-wise, it doesn't work at all. But with his coloring, it was fantastic. And I said to him, I got to say, and that was even before we did anything together, I would use that shot. I would use that shot. First of all, you have all this experience from that, but also the color of that camo thing is fantastic on you. So he's using that. But it was amazing. Yeah. So plaid can work, but if you're going to do it in a headshot, which I think is great for that kind of a look, you definitely want to do it in the right colors, because if you don't, then the square, the plaid, the very angular can be very overpowering and distracting.
One other fabric, the jeans, they range in color, right? We're talking the blues, and some jean jackets don't look good on people. And that's part of a uniform for commercials, right? It's really important to know what color jean jacket looks good on you.
So for our palette, the dark hair, the darker jean, like the newer looking jean, the darker denim is better. That very stonewashed, very light jean is really good for the blondes, the ash blondes, right? But here's the thing about jean jackets and jeans in general. They're unto a class in themselves. They're jeans. There's like a thing with that. I mean, jean, the color for jeans has nothing to do with like these kind of colors, right? So I say to some of the guys to do some like stonewashed kind of denim, or if you're going to do the jean and you're wearing a belt, do a belt in a leather color that's in that brownie kind of a area. If a client has a jean jacket like in this palette, throw on a t-shirt underneath it that's something like this. That's where I was doing a bunch of scarves with clients that they have a jean jacket, but the jean jacket isn't their color. So one gal gets a scarf and she throws the scarf around the neck with and does a t-shirt in the right color and put a lip in the right color. The other thing with jeans is blue jeans. Although you can do all kind of khakis instead of the jeans, but if you want to do the jeans, they have the orange stitching. And orange stitching helps the blue jean for certain color palettes be better. And then Someone could put a gold earring instead of no earring, or a silver. You could throw some sunglasses. I don't know. Like, you can warm it up. But the faded blue jean, the very stonewash faded one, is basically best in this kind of a palette.
I love color, first of all. So just the fact that I'm able to ask you questions about color, and because I think the world is better because we have color. God put so much color into the world. If you walk out at any time of the year, there are magical colors out there. And I am so appreciative to you, and I want everybody to go to your website, and your website is
Jill Kersh, Kirsh, color.com. Jill Kersh, color.com. And then also, I post tons of stuff like on Instagram and Facebook, and if you're on LinkedIn, and you should follow all over. And the other thing is, everyone should sign up for my free ebook on the website. I did this ebook that turned out to be, someone was interviewing me. I said, we should do a book or something. It turned out to be like 85 pages, but there's tons of pictures for each of the color groups. I even added a chapter about background colors, because background colors are really important. So you'll see in the book a couple of gals and guys, I think. Anyway, two gals I remember wearing the right color, wearing my makeup, so they look really good. But the thing we photoshopped was a bad background and a good background. And you'll see for yourself the difference and the importance of background colors. So definitely download it. It's fun. It's a fun read. And you can get the swatch books and the makeup and the scarves on my website. And if you're interested in finding out more about a one-on-one virtual session with me, just email me, which is Jill at jillkershcolor.com. It's all on the website.
When we do a one-on-one with you, will you go into our closet with us virtually?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? When I started doing this virtually, there was a woman, not an actor, but she was in her 50s, 60-ish. Anyway, she was in the Bahamas, and she booked a session, and she did it on her laptop. So we did the colors and all that. And then she took the laptop in the closet, and it's like bad, good, bad, good. But I have to say, and that was my learning experience, lighting in a closet can be very iffy. So what I say to the client is, I'm totally willing to look at whatever you want to show me, but have it out on the bed, on the couch, near where we are, and then we'll go bad, good, bad, good. But I have to say, and I do that with clients. The bottom line is, if you get, I mean, no one has to buy anything, but basically everyone buys at least a swatch book, right? But anyway, no one has to buy. But when you get the swatch book, I say shop your closet before you go shopping. So it's the best to have the book and then hold it next to anything that you have questions about. But I love going through class. I mean, this gal got it so well. The last person I did, she had everything laid out, and I almost couldn't get a word in. She's like, oh, I know this is bad and this is good, and blah, blah. She never thought about it before we did the session. So for actors, it sounds like a PR thing, and probably it is, but this is like part of marketing yourself 101. You know what I mean? This is like you gotta know, right? I mean, you gotta know what's good, and you gotta know what's bad, and how to make them all work.
I wanted to interview you because I believe with all my heart that knowing your colors is part of your branding. And as an actor, that is what you're selling. If you think of going to a supermarket, things are packaged in different colors. We tend to when you look at Lay's potato chips, you're looking at their yellow. When you look at Heinz ketchup bottle, you're looking at their red and white. Every package you see in a supermarket has a specific color because of how it makes you feel. We as actors have to own certain colors that look great on us. So when the casting director, the producer, whoever they are, the audience, they will get a certain feeling from us. Color is so it a lot. We always hear stylists, you need a stylist, but sometimes stylist gets it wrong because they're not putting you in the proper colors.
I want to say one thing really fast about stylists and helping. Obviously, I mean, I work with stylists. I mean, if a client wants to work with someone like that, I can suggest. But certain stores, I know Nordstrom, probably Macy's, I don't know. A lot of these stores have personal shoppers in their store. And these people are really hatted on knowing their stock like really, really well. I have clients that use, and they're no cost to you at all. And I have clients that they have a meeting with them and they give them the swatch book. And then they have the person look for all the things. You tell them what look you want, a price, whatever it is. And then they'll pull from their inventory. You come in and try it on. So it's wonderful. It's a really great service. And especially if they have the colors to play with. I have clients that have given their swatch book to their stylist. Certain people, there was a gal who I did who was married to a big producer in Hollywood, and the show he was working on became a huge hit, and all of a sudden her life changed from hanging out with the moms in the park to having to go to these things. And she gave the stylist the swatch book, and she just went, and everything she did was in her colors. And then she turned someone on to me, and she wanted to watch when I did it. She walks in the door. Oh my God, I can't even believe how long ago this was. Remember, see, color, I remember. She walked in a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, but with a jacket it was a print that had most all of her colors in one jacket. And I said to her, where did you find that? And she goes, oh, Tracy got it for me. And I said, Tracy? Oh, you don't know Tracy. P.S. Tracy and I have become like best buddies. We're really good friends. But it was all because of giving her this. She gave it to the stylist. So what I'm thinking of for actors where, you don't have or you don't want to spend money on someone else. First of all, I would do it yourself first. I would just like go and get familiar with the colors, especially if they're new colors for you. Just kind of throw on try t-shirts on, off, whatever. Also for guys, for polo shirts, the young dad, the grandpa, like that polo shirt look. I mean, I don't know how it's merchandised now, but I would go into a store and they'd have a whole line of all the colors on the wall. It's like this, no, not this. So you're going shopping more equipped and more in charge and more in control and getting things, and then everything is going to work together. Like you got to get a leather jacket. Not everyone should get it in black. Black is fabulous for some people, but some of those like distressed brown leathers, fantastic on other people. So start playing with it, and definitely reach out. What I was saying about booking a session, like I don't even have that. Something says like work with Jill or something and gives the email, because if we're going to work together, I want to talk to you first. I want to get, your vibe and what you need and want. And so I can provide that. So the best way to do that is just to email me. And that's on the website.
Love Jill Kersh. She is so informed when it comes to colors and what works on actors, whether they're young or older. She is a rock star. Let me know in the comments your thoughts. And while you're there, buy me a latte. I would love it. And don't go anywhere because I've got another interview with Jill breaking it down even more on colors you should be using.